Hi there! Thank you for checking out this tutorial video on applications of linear equations. This is one of the series of videos that I have uploaded about problem solving involving two unknowns or one unknown. I have grouped the videos on my playlist so that you can easily find them. This is Mommy J and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so this time let us discuss money or value problem. So in these slides, what you will be expecting here is that we will be discussing those money problems involving penny, nickel, dimes, quarter, money problems, ticket problems, investment problems. Okay, let's see. Alright, so before we move on, let us get familiarized with the United States coins. Although our setting here in the Philippines, of course, we do not use these kinds of coins. But somehow, in some problems in algebra, since some authors are usually coming from the United States, therefore, meron silang mga questions involving penny, nickel, dime, and quarter. So let us understand first the value of those coins. So penny is equivalent to 1 cent. So that's $0.01. Nickel is 5 cents or $0.05. $0.05. Dime is 10 cents or 0.10 of a dollar. And quarter is 25 cents or $0.25. Right? So, penny, nickel, and dime. So, kasi sa United States, not actually given yung value in some, like this for example, it only tells us this is 1 dime. So, 1 dime, it does not indicate how many cents. Okay, so that's 10 cents. And then, although sa 1 cent, meron nakalagay yung penny. And then, yan. Right? Okay, first problem. Let us read the problem just like what we are doing in other word problems. We need to read and analyze each sentence, transform it into a idea in which you can actually translate into your own language so that you can understand each sentence and transform it into most probably a visual representation, a diagram, or equation right away. Okay, Becca saves coins in her piggy bank, and after a month, she found that there are 27 coins in dimes and quarters. Right? The total value of the coins is $4.95. Find the number of each kind of coin that she has saved. So we have here dimes and quarters. Let's assign D and Q for those variables. Now in total, there are 27 coins in the piggy bank. Right? Now the second equation will involve the value of or the amount of the total number of dimes. So how much will be the dimes? So if we have dimes which is equivalent to 10 cents or 0.10 of dollar, you multiply it to the number of dimes, that will give us the amount of the dimes. Right? This is the amount. And then we add it to the amount of quarters. The quarter is 0.25. You multiply it to the number of quarter coins. This term here, 0.25Q, is the amount amount of all the quarter coins that is in the piggy bank. Now, amount plus amount, what is the total amount? $4.95. So as you can see, I used here the decimal equivalent in dollars of the coins, not 10, not 25. 0.10 for the dime, 0.10 of dollar, 0.25 of dollar is the quarter. Because this total 4.95 is in dollars also, right? Now we can multiply the second equation by 100 so that the decimal places will be moved to the right and it will give us 10D plus 25Q equals 495. Now we can choose to eliminate the variable D. If we want to eliminate this, and this is 10D, let us multiply this by negative 10, this equation, so that we'll come up with negative, let's write the resulting equation here below, negative 10D, this one, negative 10D, negative 10Q, and negative 270. So this equation, this one, comes from multiplying the first equation by negative 10 because our aim here is to eliminate the variable D. So eliminating that variable, cancel out D, 25Q minus 10Q, that will give us 15Q, 495 minus 270. So that will give us 225. And then divide both sides by 15. That will give us 15. So there are 15 quarters. So if there are 15 quarters, so this is 15, alright? 15 quarters. And all in all, there are 27 coins. There are 15 coins which are quarters. So how many coins are dimes? So there are 12, right? 27 minus 15. So there are 12 dimes, 15 quarters, 12 plus 15 is 27. Okay, so we can write our final answer. Our final answer here is that there are 12 dimes and 15 quarters. Okay? Okay, number 2. A purse containing coins with a value of $3.40 consists of nickels, dimes, and quarters. If there are 40 coins in all and 3 times as many dimes as quarters, how many coins of each kind were there? So analyzing this problem, we can see that there are 3 kinds of coins: nickels, dimes, and quarters. So we can assign letters like N for nickel, D for dimes, and Q for quarters. Okay? Now, in the second sentence, it tells us that there are 40 coins in all. So that means when we add the number of nickels, so let N be the number of nickels, let D be the number of dimes, and let Q be the number of quarters. All in all, when we add these three, that's equivalent to 40 coins in all. Alright? And then, it tells us also in the second sentence that there are 3 times as many dimes as quarters. Okay, let's focus on this part of the second sentence. 3 times as many dimes as quarters. So when we transform this into equivalent variables or expression, 3 times as many dimes as quarters is equivalent to this. D equals 3Q. Alright? So let's remember this kind of phrases when we encounter this later on. 3 times as many dimes as quarters. So we can see that this is equivalent to 3 quarters equals dimes, or D equals 3Q. Okay? Now, if that is the case, we can rewrite this first equation, ND plus Q equals 40, substituting 3Q to D. Alright? So that will give us N plus 3Q plus Q equals 40. And combining 3Q plus Q, N plus 4Q equals 40. Okay? Now, the value of these coins is 3.40 in total. It means that when we multiply N is or has an equivalent of 0.05. When we multiply 0.05 to the number of nickels and then add it to dimes is 0.10 or 0.10, multiplied by the number of dimes, and 4 quarters 0.25 Q, all in all, the value of this is 3.40. Okay? And then, again, we have an equivalent of letter D, which is 3Q. Letter D is equal to 3Q. We can substitute 3Q dito sa D na to. We need to do this so that we can reduce the equation into unknowns. So this will give us 0.05 N plus 0.10. D is equivalent to 3Q, and then rewrite the rest. Okay? And then simplify more. 0.05 N plus 0.10 times 3 is 0.3 Q, and then plus 0.25 Q equals 3.40. Now, combining also 0.3 and 0.25, because they are same variables, we can have 0.05 N plus 0.55 Q equals 3.40. Now, we have here two equations already. This first one, N plus 4Q equals 40, and 0.05 N plus 0.55Q equals 340. Now, we can actually multiply this N plus 4Q equals 40. Let us multiply this by negative 0.05, right? We can multiply this by negative 0.05 so that with negative 0.05 N, it can be cancelled to this 0.05 N positive here. So what we have now is negative 0.05 N Now, 4 times 0.05 is equal to zero point 0.2. So, zero point 0.2 Q. And then, negative 0.05 times 40 is equal to 2. So, that will give us negative 2 here. Now, let us write this equation beneath this one so that we can see that the variable n will be cancelled. So 0.05n plus 0.55q equals 3.40. So adding these two equations, we have here cancelled n and then 0.35q. Combining these two variables, zero point 0.2 and negative zero point 0.2 and positive 0.55, it will give us positive 0.35q. And 3.40, add to negative 2 or combine these two numbers, the result is 1.40. And then divide both sides by 0.35, it will give us q equals 4. So this q equals 4 means that there are 4 quarters or 4 quarter coins inside the purse. Okay? So if there are 4 quarters, we can substitute 4 here so that we can get the number of dimes. So 3 times 4 equals 12. So the number of dimes is 3q, which is 3 times 4 and equal to 12. And then, all in all, we have 40 coins in the purse. If we have 4 quarters and we have dimes, 12 dimes, so all in all, meron na tayong, ilan na yon? 12 here, plus 4 here. Yeah, so there are 16 already. 16 already dito sa part na to. 40 minus 16. So, 40 minus 16, the number of dimes is equal to 24. Now, we can actually write it like this. N plus dimes, the number of dimes is 12, plus the number of quarters is 4. That is equivalent to, all in all, there are 40 coins. So, solving here, transpose natin yung ibang constants, and then we are left with 40 minus 16, which is 24. Okay? We can write our final answers as there are 4 quarters, 12 dimes, and 24 nickels. Alright, number 3. So number 3 is a ticket problem. There were 200 tickets sold for a charity concert. Tickets for students and elderly were 50 pesos each, and for adults, 75 pesos each. The total amount of money collected was 13,250 pesos. How many of each type of ticket was sold? So what we do not know here is the number of student tickets and adults ticket. So as we can see here that 50 pesos is the cost of tickets for students and elderly. Okay? So that means meron silang discount na po. There are only two kinds of tickets here. Those which cost 50 pesos and then the other one which costs for 75 pesos for adults. Okay? So that means we can assign actually X and Y here. So let X be the ticket for number of tickets for students and elderly. And then y for the number of tickets for adults. Okay? Now we can see that in the first sentence, there are 200 tickets. So when we add x and y, that is equivalent to 200 all in all. And then the second equation will come from the value of each ticket and the total sales, which is this one. That means when we multiply x, the number of student tickets, by its value, which is 50 pesos, 50 times the number of tickets for students, and then 75 times the number of tickets for adults. That is equivalent to a total of 13,250 pesos. So these are our two working equations. Now, we can actually multiply the first equation by negative 50. So with that, we can multiply this by negative 50 so that it will become negative 50x, negative 50y, and 200 times 50 is 10,000. So that will give us negative 10,000. So with this, we can now cancel out the x variable. Combining the y variables, we have 25y. And also combining the constants, we have 3,250. Divide both sides by 25. So divide natin to by 25. We will come up with y, which is number of adult tickets, 130. So there are 130 tickets for adults. Now, if we have 130 tickets for adults and the total number of tickets is 200, we can now identify the number of student tickets, which is just 200 minus 130. So there are 70 tickets for students. Okay, we can now write our final answer. So our final answer is that there are 70 student tickets or student elderly tickets and 130 adult tickets. Okay? Okay, number 4, an investment problem. So, an investment portfolio earned 7,970 pesos after 1 year. Now, in investment problems, we have to take into account the simple interest equation, I equals PRT. Now, normally in algebra problems involving investments, the time here is only 1 year, usually 1 year. And then the rate is in percent that you can see in the problem. And then the principal, which is the amount invested. So, investment means when you give money so that it will earn after a year or 2 years, okay, at a certain interest rate. Okay, it will earn an interest. So, in this problem, we have the amount of money invested, which is letter P, and then interest rate. Now, the second sentence tells us that there's a total of 110,000 invested. Part of it at 8.2% and the rest at 6.8%. So, there are actually two investments wherein 110,000 pesos is divided, not actually equal, but we do not know how much was invested in 8.2%. So we will assign X for that, money invested in 8.2% and y is the money invested in 6.8%. Okay? Now, all in all, we can see that this money invested has a total of 110,000 pesos. Right? Now, we will now create the second equation. The second equation will come from the interest earned. Now, in 1 year, the interest earned of the investment in 8.2% is 0.082 times x. So, ibig sabihin yan, your money will earn 8.2% of that in 1 year. So, it is just 0.082x. Okay? And then, your money invested in 6.8%, which is y, variable, we do not know how much. So, that will earn 0.068y. Okay. Now, total of this interest earned according to the problem is 7,970. Okay? So, the second equation tells us how much is earned in the first interest rate, how much is earned in the second interest rate, and the total is given 7,970. Okay, so these are the two working equations in which we are going to use. We can actually eliminate one variable. Now, let us multiply the second equation by 1,000. So, it will become whole numbers here for this one and this one. Okay? So, that will become 82x plus 68y equals 7,970 and then 3 more zeros. Okay? So, that's times 1,000. If we want to eliminate the x variable, we need to multiply this first equation by negative 82. So, let us multiply the first equation by negative 82. So, negative 82x minus 82y equals 110,000 times 82 negative. So, that's 902 and then 4 zeros. Right? Negative. And then, with these two equations, we can now cancel out x. 68 and negative 82, so that is negative 14y. And these two constants here, negative 902, and then there are 4 zeros, we added to 797. That will give us negative 105, and then there are 4 zeros. Divide both sides by negative 14. So, that will give us 75,000 pesos. So, y is 75,000. What does this mean? This 75,000. This 75,000 is the money invested in 6.8%. Now, what is the value of x or the money invested in 8.2%? So, from the first equation, the total money is 110,000 pesos. So, if we have invested 75,000 pesos in 6.8%, there are how much of the money invested in 8.2? We just subtract from here 75,000, which is 35,000 pesos. Okay? So, if you want, you can just write here your final answers. So, this will give us these final answers. Okay? Number 5. Okay, number 5. Michelle earned a total of 900 pesos last year on her investments. 7,000 pesos was invested at a certain simple interest and 9,000 pesos was invested in a fund with a rate that was 2% higher. Find the two rates of interest. Okay, so what we are given here is, or the money invested in the different rates. What we do not know here is the percentage or the rates of interest. So let us assign X for the rate of interest for 7,000 pesos. Yan. So, dyan in-invest yung 7,000 pesos. We do not know how much in percent. Okay? Or actually, in decimal muna yung masosolve natin dyan. And then, Y is the rate of interest in which 9,000 pesos is invested. Now, we are now creating two equations here. Kasi meron two variables. Okay? So, if X is the rate for 7,000 pesos, we multiply it by that, it will give us, okay, this expression will give us the money earned after investing 7,000 pesos to the X interest rate. Now, adding this to Y times 9,000 pesos, this is the amount of interest earned when investing 9,000 pesos to Y interest. This will give us a total of 900 pesos. Remember that what we can get here is the decimal equivalent of the rate of interest. Okay? And so that's the first equation that we can write. Now, there is another equation that we can write here because it tells us that the second rate is 2% higher. Okay? So, Y, this Y, the second interest, 2% higher means X plus what? 0.2, 0.02 or plus 2? So, 2% higher in decimal, that is 0.02. So, 0.02. So, X plus 0.02 is the equivalent of Y. Okay? Okay, it's transformed into decimal form because X and Y here are decimal. Remember in the previous example, we changed the interest rate into its decimal equivalent. Multiply it to the investment, corresponding investments that is equivalent to a total of this investment, right? Okay, so these are the two working equations. Now, we can actually use substitution instead of elimination. Because we can substitute this one into Y. Because Y is equivalent to this. Y is equivalent to this. Substitute. So, rewrite X times 7,000 or we can write 7,000X plus, now let us first write X plus 0.02. just for you to see that we have substituted y with x plus 0.02. And then multiply this to 9,000 pesos equals 900 pesos. Distribute 9,000 pesos to x. Okay? So that will be 9,000 x. 9,000 times 0.02. So that will give us 180. 180 equals 900. So 7,000 plus 9,000, that is 16,000 x. Transpose 180 to the right side, that will give us 900 minus 180. And 900 minus 180 is equivalent to 720. And then finally, divide both sides by 16,000 pesos. Okay? So, 720 divided by 16,000 pesos, it will give us 0.045. So, x is equal to 0.045. Now, this is equivalent to 4.5%. 2 decimal places to the right to make it a rate of interest. Okay. Now, if x equals 0.045, this will give us a y value here. 0.045 plus 0.02, which is 0.065, or the y is equal to 0.045 plus 0.02, which is 0.065. Now, in percentage, this is 6.5%. Okay, so we have here our final answers, 6.5%, and then this one is 4.5%. Okay. Alright, so that's all for money and value problems. I just hope you check out also other word problems that I have already uploaded, because there are many applications of solving equations into unknowns. Okay? And don't forget also to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can also be updated with my future videos. Thank you again.